Good morning, everyone. I'm just going to wait a few minutes for a few other people to join. But while I'm doing that, I'm just going to put a poll up for you, just to get a sense of what aspect of selling do you find most challenging in either your job or in your company. So I'd love to hear from you while you're waiting. Just have a look at these ideas and tell me what are the things that you think challenge you most when it comes to the whole notion of sales. So there's a few more people joining, but if you can keep putting your entries in on the poll for what aspect of selling do you find most challenging. Initial contact seems to be coming up as the favourite at the moment, which I guess is no surprise. But anyway, welcome to my webinar, Sales Ninja, which I'm really excited about because it's the culmination of, in many respects, many years of work I've done. But more recently, it's the culmination of some real shifts in my own thinking about sales. So I'm just going to run through a few admin bits before we get launched into the presentation. Now, during the webinar, there's an option for you to enter in your comments and your thoughts using the chat bar that you should see available to you. And I will be responding to those. So if you've got any questions, any ideas, any insights, I'd love to hear them as we carry on. The main body of the presentation is pre-recorded, so that does enable me to make sure I can interact with you as we're having this conversation. And at the end of the conversation, I'm going to jump back online and I'm going to tell you a little bit about my new program, the Sales Ninja program. I'm going to give you the details of that because it may be something that you're going to be interested in. And the reason I'm calling it the Sales Ninja program is I've become obsessed just lately with the idea of how do you sell without selling? And this has come up for me, particularly as I've started to work with a lot of people who are hugely resistant to sales and selling, predominantly because they don't see it as their job. And I've had some real successes when I've helped them to see past the whole ideas that they're carrying around sales and selling. So just having a look at the poll here. So looks like for most of you, initial contact, following up and closing or asking for the sale. So I have a feeling that these two things are related, that closing or asking for the sale are actually, and then following up are one and the same kind of thing, because you haven't closed or asked for the sale. You end up in this follow-up loop, which can be a little bit painful and a little bit sticky. But initial contact, you know, this is, you're going to hear about this in the presentation. This is one of the principal challenges, I suspect, and I'm going to share with you why I think that is the case. So look, without further ado, I'm going to sort of launch the presentation. As I say, feel free to interact with me at any point through it using the chat bar. Let me know your questions, let me know your thoughts, let me know if you can't hear anything or something doesn't sound like it's right. But in the meantime, I'm gonna hand over to the presentation, and let's carry on talking as we go through it. Hey, well, I'm back, and I hope you got a lot from that. I'm just looking as the presentation was winding up at the results of the poll, which was really interesting. So, making better use of time to be in the presence of the customer seems to be coming out as quite a strong one, and taking personal responsibility. If there was something else that you heard in the presentation that wasn't one of those 5 characteristics, I wonder if you could just enter on the chat bar for me what it is that you picked up on that you thought was important for you. There was quite a lot of content there. I'm fully aware of that. So, and you will be getting a recording at the end of this webinar, so that you'll be able to re-listen to it and go through and maybe fill in some of the gaps in the notes that you've taken. So I just want to take a little bit of your time now to talk to you about the Sales Ninja program, which I'm launching with this webinar. It's pretty hot off the press. I've been in a lot of discussions with a lot of different people trying to come up with something that had the right degree of balance and that was going to be really valuable for people. And it's so hot off the press that these are my notes. I haven't even sort of got so far as actually doing a flyer for it. In fact, it was even as late as last night. I was still really sort of fine-tuning what it is I wanted to do with this program. So let me talk to you about the Sales Ninja program. So it's going to be a 4-month program, and it's a combination of training and one-to-one coaching. And the reason I've gone with a combination is I think training is useful, but it's only when you have an opportunity to work with someone and reflect, and someone who would challenge on how you're using that in the real world, that it becomes pretty valuable. So there's lots of 4s coming up here. So first of all, there's going to be 4 training sessions, one of which is going to be a day long, and the other 3 of which are half-day modules. And that training is going to take up, it's going to take the form of initially a day looking at self-leadership, about how you organize yourself to create time to sell and to create focus around selling actions. Secondly, we're going to run a training session on how to have that sales conversation and how to build that deep connection with people so that they feel compelled to want to work with you, and hopefully to then ultimately go and buy products and services. I think it's really important that you focus on connection first and the order second, because the order will always come when you've got good connection and when people understand what it is that you do. There's also going to be training around how to plan your sales, how to create a personal campaign using both your existing and prospective customers. And then finally, I'm going to run a module on written communications, because I do think that these things do go hand in hand with conversation. It's how you then follow up and the style of your ability to communicate. You know, increasingly we're using email and we're using text and we're using social media as ways of engaging with people, and getting those communications right is important as well. So over the 4 months, there's a sort of a spread of training, which in total equates to 2.5 days. On top of that, there's then 4 90-minute one-to-one coaching sessions with me. And those coaching sessions are to do 2 things primarily. Firstly, they're to really explore your grounding and help you get past whatever's holding you up, so that when you're in front of customers, you're confident, you're comfortable, you haven't got all that bullshit flying around in your head that's kind of getting in your way of having a good conversation. And that includes going prospecting, that includes entering conversations with people that you don't know at this point. And then secondly, we're going to deal with any specific implementation challenges in the one-to-one sessions. So things that you're trying to do that aren't working for you. And there's also 4 books that are going to be covered that I'm going to expect people on my Ninja program to read and to give feedback on and to absorb and play with the ideas in those books. So this is quite an intensive 4-month program. There's going to be a break in December, so it's going to start in October and then it's going to run through to February before it's finished. Right, okay, I'm sure you want to know. Now, I'm only taking 6 people into this program. I don't want to work with a room full of people. I want to work in a way that when I'm delivering training, it's a real personal one-to-one experience. And this is the first program I've ever offered a money-back guarantee on, with no questions asked. Provided you complete the program and you complete all of the activities and you work with me and you enable me to sort of help you and working together to create the transformation you need to go on to be effortless at selling. If at the end of this program it hasn't worked for you, I'm going to give you your money back. So how much is the program going to cost? So if you've never worked with me, i.e. you're not an ex-client or you haven't at some level done one of my programs or paid to spend some time with me, this 4-month program is £1,195 plus VAT. If you have worked with me and you're an ex-client, that's £995 plus VAT. So just to put that in the context of what that means for your business, I've worked out that in order to get a return on investment on this training, I'd have to help you sell an additional £4,000 worth of product. Now, that's based on a margin of 40%. So if you know your own gross margin, you can actually calculate how accurate that return on investment is, or whether it's more or less. But what I promise you is that I'm utterly committed to everyone on this program coming out of it being much more effective and much better at what it is they do. So if you're ready to go with this and you want one of these 6 places, then you can send me an email saying, count me in, and send that to dave@sleepingtiger.co.uk. If you're not sure or you want to explore it a little bit more, just click on the button that you should be seeing on your screen now to book a sales conversation with me, where we'll just chat over the phone and you can tell me what your challenges are, and I can help you see whether this program is for you or it's not for you. And also, if you're running a company, you're thinking about running something like this in-house, then book that conversation with me and we can talk about that. So I'm just going to go in and check. I'm really eager to hear from anyone, particularly people who had a specific thing that came up for them in the conversation that wasn't one of those 5 characteristics that they're going to work on. I can't see anything coming in at the moment. So just going through that poll, then the vast majority of people want to make better use of time. So recognizing that time is the one asset that you have a limitation on, and focusing on, number 1, are you prioritizing the right things? Or number 2, are you attacking with intensity the activities that need to be done? And then some people have flagged up taking personal responsibility. So actually looking at, are you an above or below the line person? Are you being held to account for the way you're going about executing your sales plan? So look, we're coming to the end of our time now. So number 1, I hope you've really had a lot of value from that. You will be getting a recording. You can listen to it again. Number 2, if you think this Sales Ninja program is for you, then I want you to do one or two things. I want you to email me now and make sure you've reserved your place. So that's dave@sleepingtiger.co.uk. Or I want you to click on the button and book it actually says 5 minutes on the button, but it's a 15-minute consultation with me. And we'll just go through what's going on for you, what your challenges are, and establish whether this program is the right thing for you or not. But it's Friday, you're coming up for the weekend. I'm sure there's a lot you want to go away and think about and absorb. So I want to thank you and I want to honor you for joining me this morning. And I hope you've had a ton of learning from this. And I hope we really get to speak and hopefully even work together again real soon. So I'm going to say goodbye and thank you for your time.